Okay, we're back. So, I have been wanting to do the solo RPGing that I've been watching on YouTube lately. I had a few streams about it past couple of nights, but I haven't been able to really nail down the edition I want to use. I tried to do some adventure party creation, and I wasn't able to really get that done either. So, after some thinking, I've decided to go with probably the least popular option of 3rd edition or 3.5. I'm not going to use any Pathfinder stuff. I have the D&D stuff. So I'll be using 3.5 for my solo RPG edition. I've got a lot of work done on that. So already got a bunch of tables, random encounter stuff already done for that. And looking through the books, I can pretty much convert everything from 1st edition DMG into 3rd edition pretty easily. It will be a hex crawl game. Got some of the stuff I plan on creating for my hex crawling. Basically, I've got how I'm going to generate a hex as I move into a hex. So things I got to keep in mind are, what kind of terrain is it? What's the water sources? Is it wilderness or civilization? I have to figure out some means of continuing roads and rivers. I got to figure out features. I'm going to do my random encounters as per terrain, not not for individual hexes. It'll be for terrain as a whole. So have encounters for forests and whatever, and I'll do it based on time, not on movement. But I'll come up with those tables. I've already got other tables I need for other aspects of it. So I've got some urban encounter tables already written up, and I've got some weather tables. I got a whole bunch of stuff for 3rd edition. So I've landed on 3rd edition for solo RPG. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to roll up my party quickly. I'm just going to do all the random aspects. So I'll roll the stats and I'll roll the gold. I think that's all I need to roll for random stuff. And then I can fill the characters out on my own, just as long as the rolls. And then once we have a party and I have the necessary hex crawl tables I'm going to need, I'm just going to run a game on stream. That's mostly for logging my dice rolls, and then I'll take that stream and I'll generate a YouTube video out of it with a narrative to it. That's kind of what I want. That's how I want to run my solo RPG. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get my party written up quickly. So I will be using organic character creation. So that's 46. Drop the lowest. In order, I'll swap a stat, and then I get to re-roll one stat. So, and I think we're gonna go with 8 characters. I'm not gonna pull any punches on random encounters, so I don't think 8 characters is too many. So let's go, and it's 3rd edition too, so it's a little more forgiving, I would say, on character death. But it's a little more difficult for henchmen and followers and that kind of thing, I'd say. That's less common in 3rd edition. So we'll stick with the 8 party group. That should be enough. And let's go ahead and just roll up some stats. So we need, I'll just write first character. Second, what's this, 5? And then I'll determine races and what have you after. We want strength. So the order will be strength as per 3rd edition. We'll do strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. And then gold. Alright, so, first character roll. Can't see that. There it is. So we got an 11. $15. $12. And there'll be the, you need at least a 13, and you need a total of +1 bonus. Or I can re-roll it. Whoa, 18 intelligence. Oh, that's a wizard. Seven. And... well, I guess I'll have to also assign a class. 9 charisma. So we get to swap and then reroll. We don't want to swap anything. We're good exactly the way it is, so we'll reroll that wisdom. Do we want our 18 to be a... no, we don't want our 18 to be a... that's a better fighter. So let's swap intelligence and strength. And we'll re-roll that constitution. And we got lower, so we'll stick with the 12 constitution. So we got one, looks like a barbarian-esque kind of guy. He'll be a fighter? Yeah. That's a fig. That is 64 if I'm not mistaken. We'll decide on human or what have you after. Could be half-orc. It could be. Could be barbarian. I don't like that 7 wisdom, but you can just do... you don't have to do wilderness barbarians. You can just do savages. Yeah, you know what? We got 8 characters we can use, so let's go ahead and go barbarian. Probably going to go half-orc. Barbarian is 4d6. Yeah, 46. Or 44, sorry. We need another d4 for rolling. And we've got... that is 80 gold. Alright, first character is Barbarian. Next character. Yeah, I want my 18 to be in a strike. That is a 10. I want to go heavy on the fighters. That is a 17. We got an 8. Or sorry, 9. A 10. An 11. And what's our charisma? This has got the feel of a rogue. Charisma is an 11. So we will swap wisdom and constitution. See, I'm going to have to swap. I don't want to just default charisma. Everybody gets charisma as their low score. But I will have a use for charisma in the solo gaming. Because charisma is more of a stat you don't really use in solo RPGing, I'd say. We'll swap. Constitution and charisma. Constitution of 11, charisma of 9, and we're going to re-roll that intelligence and see if we can't get a decent rogue. Oh, we had a higher number, but 15 is still pretty good. So we got a rogue here. And rogues get 5d4? They do. That will be 90. I need one more d4 for in case I get fighter. Alrighty. Next character. So we're gonna, like I said, 8. I think we'll see. We'll say 8. It's got to be 8. 8's the number. So 13. Whoa, that's not good. 7 dexterity. That's pretty low. These dice do not roll very high. 14 constitution. Working on a cleric here if we can get a good wisdom score. Wisdom and charisma. 13 intelligence. Dropping dice. 10 wisdom. Well, we can always swap a stat. An 11. Alright. Not great. Oops, that was a 10. That's an 11. This character is... Yep, I have to keep him because it is a +2 total with at least a 13. Or it's at least a 14. Either way, I still have it. Alright, how do we want to run this guy? I'm feeling that it's probably going to be a cleric, possibly multi-class. So let's go ahead and swap intelligence and constitution. Or sorry. No. Lead the 14. We want to swap intelligence and wisdom. So 10 intelligence, 13 wisdom. Let's reroll that dexterity. We do not want a 7 dexterity. Drop the die. We got a 7. So dexterity is a 7. Doesn't matter what I roll. I rolled another 7. Alright. That's our weak link right there. I think we'll stick with... I think we'll probably stick with cleric for him. Try to find the dice I dropped here. Okay. Oh my god. Foolish. There it is. Alright, next character. Oh, we'll call this a cleric. Probably a dwarf cleric at that. Clerics get 5d4 as well. That is 100 gold. Character number 4. 12. We need some sort of magic user or wizard. 12 decks. And then we'll basically have the 4 main classes covered, if you count fighter as a barbarian. So, we got a question on how I'm going to be running my solo D&D. So first of all, right now what I'm doing is I'm rolling up the party, as the title states. So here's the deal. I've been playing solo D&D since I started playing D&D, 20-something years ago. I just never knew it was a thing, but I've watched a few, over the past month I've been watching some solo D&Ders on YouTube and decided I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. So, it's essentially run by tables. I already have a world fleshed out. I may or may not use it. I'm probably going to go hex crawl for this. Basically, you're just going to do a hex crawl. If you are familiar with D&D, first edition, if you look in the back of the DMG, in the appendices, there is a solo dungeon rules for generating and playing in your own dungeon. And there's also some hex crawl rules back there as well. Basically, I'm taking those rules and converting them over to 3rd edition, being my preferred edition. I'm going to create a party. I'm going to stream the dice rolls and me actually playing the game on stream. I will then take that, and if you watch here, let me find the YouTuber. This is the guy I'm going to... Yeah, I came in at 2nd edition, and then like 2 or 3 months later, 3rd edition came out. And so basically 3rd edition is kind of my edition. But I did come in at 2nd edition, was my first campaign I played in. But let me find the guy. I want to find the link to the guy that I'm basically going to ape him. The way he does his solo D&D. Let me find him here. So I got a link for him right here. So he does nice short videos too. That's what I like the best about him, is his videos are nice and short. So I'm going to try to emulate that, because my videos are long and rambly. Alright. So there's the guy that I've been watching. He does some good stuff. He's playing basic D&D as well, which is awesome. I'd say my favorite edition of D&D is 1st edition. But I'm having trouble getting motivated for some solo 1st edition. So I want to start with 3rd edition here. They're short videos. That's just the style I'm gonna go for, is the way he does it. I just don't have a British accent, so I might have to work on that. But the idea is I'm gonna start in a town or city with my party. I have some tables that I've created in the past for random urban encounters. And like trying to avoid urban encounters or getting into trouble, or however you want to look at it. I've got tables for that. Basically, I got a table that I can run a game just rolling on tables. So that's what I'm going to use. What I'll do most likely is upload, I'll type these tables up and maybe I'll just take a picture. It might be easier. And I can put the tables up in the chat or on the YouTube channel or something. Get them out there so people can see them. And then know basically the rules I'm using to play my solo D&D. So basically it's just going to be hex crawl. We're going to look for dungeons. We'll do dungeon dives. And then I'll just fill in whatever roles I've done. I'll just fill the narrative in, after the fact. And that's kind of what I'm going for. And this is just, I needed to take a break from miniature wargaming for a bit because it was getting too much to print out, support, remove supports, cure, paint for a session once a week. So I just needed to take a step back from that, and this is nice and easy. This is all just paper. So the prep time is pretty much zero. It'll just be video editing time. I'm also intend on taking my drone out and doing some good nature shots, nature videos, because if you watch this guy, I think he does the same thing. Yeah, it's just a lot to print out and paint up an encounter once a week. I was enjoying it with 5 leagues. Can't get myself to do it for 5 parsecs. I've got the minis printed out. I just can't bring myself to paint them. I want to play Parsec. I like sci-fi. I just can't. Like I said, we'll take a break. We'll do this for a little bit, maybe something else for a month, and then I'll probably hit the 5P or 5L again. But anyways, so all I'm doing right now is rolling up the stats and the gold pieces, and I can fill the character out later. This is the only third edition you start max hit points, so I don't even have to roll hit points. This is the only random aspect of the character that I'm going to do on stream. Then I'll discuss, kind of muse about how I want to set up my hex crawl tables. See, I think I've said this before. I've got, I would not, I'm not even going to put a monetary value on how many 40k minis I have. But I could do the same thing you do, where I could just use 40k figs, no problem. I've got everything. But I'm doing a 15 millimeter. Like 15 millimeter is my new thing, and I'm really enjoying it. Definitely like 15 mil better than 28. But yeah, I could do 40k figs for pretty much everything sci-fi. I've got 2,000 point plus armies of pretty much every single army in the game, with the exception of Eldar and Harlequins. Those are the only two. And 2,000 is the lowest. I think I have a 2,000 point Space Wolves. That's probably my smallest army. And a 2,000 point, a little more than 2,000 point Tau army. Those would be my smallest. But I've sworn off GW, so those all got packed up in a box, and they live in the basement now. I don't like GW anymore. I don't like their business practices. I don't like their pricing or any of that stuff. So they're gone. I do print out. I have printed out a Harlequins and an Eldar army, but I printed that out entirely, and I'll be painting it with Army Painter instead of Citadel. Just because. Actually, I probably won't paint. Honestly, I'm probably not going to paint it because I don't intend on playing 40k anytime soon. But if I do come back to 40k, it's going to be years down the road, and it's going to be casual only. I'll probably use 3D printed armies. Even though I have every army, I'll still use 3D printed armies. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. I want to try to get these stats written up here. So far I got a Barbarian, a Rogue, and a Cleric rolled up. And we're working on character number 4. Oh, no worries. I prefer. It's good to have someone to talk to. Usually I just stream to myself. So even a 5-minute chat with someone's good. All right, so we're rolling up intelligence. So hopefully I'll have enough stuff done that I can start running the game Saturday. And like I said, basically I'm just going to be essentially rolling off of tables. Mostly tables I've created. This would be a better cleric than the previous guy. And basically the game's just going to evolve around that. Ooh, 16 charisma. We will swap. Let's see. This is a better cleric than the previous one. I think we're going to make him a cleric as well. We'll swap charisma and wisdom. And we'll re-roll constitution. If we can get something decent, we got a pretty good cleric there. Oh yeah, I'd say a 16 is decent. Here's our super character. It's always one. So we'll make him also a cleric. 2 clerics in the party. Which is good, because I think the storyline is going to be... they're going to travel to another continent, just because I can do a good hex crawl that way. and generate a new continent on my world at the same time. Alright, so 5d4 for gold for the clerks. It's always one. I'm doing a party of 8, so there's bound to be 1 or 2 super characters. And gold is 11. Oh, so sword and fortress. You've been popping in here in and out on occasion for basically since I started doing this. You recall my dice rolling and how loud it was. If you do, let me know. While I continue character creating. Okay, so I don't know if you probably hadn't seen it, but I did a new dice tower. First of all, it's Cthulhu, which is awesome. And what I did was line the thing with felt. Right down the whole tower. Right down to this ring, and then there's this little pad of felt that I rested on. So now, basically, if you'll listen, here, I'm going to do the next stat roll anyways for the next guy. This is me rolling 4d6 down a tower. Barely hear it at all. That's a hell of a roll, too, a 16. Hell yeah. Good roll. So that should solve the loud dice tower problem I was having. And this, for anybody else who 3D prints who happens upon here, this Cthulhu Dice Tower is a free Thingiverse file. If you just look it up, Dice Tower Cthulhu, just look that up and you'll find it, if you're interested. I've been free virtually printing out my dungeon tiles for this game as well. I do intend on 3D printing for this, because that's what I do. 3D printing's sort of my gimmick here. Alright, so we're going to have a pretty low score constitution right here. Ended up with a 7. Jeez. We're looking for a fighter, but no, I'm not so sure. 12 intelligence. And what's cool about this tower is I can lift it up and pull it away. It doesn't have a bottom. That is 10 for wisdom, which makes it a lot easier to grab the dice. And whoa, 17 charisma. Wowzers. Well, we want a fighter, so we'll swap Constitution and Charisma. We got a 17 and a 7. What was it? It was a 7. And we'll re-roll our Dexterity. Anything but a negative. No, would be nice. So we'll stick with the 9. So we're gonna have a 9 Dexterity, but we'll supplement that maybe with a Dwarf or something. Yeah, that would make a hell of a Dwarven fighter right there. Wrap him in armor. Alright, character number... Oh, we need to... We're going to have a fighter. That is... 64. So I'm going to try out 3rd edition first. And then if it doesn't go well, or if I run out of steam or whatever, then I'll swap to 1st edition at some point. Alright, we got... But I'll start with 3rd edition, being the edition I have the most done for. 130 gold. So I'll do a recap in a minute of what we've got so far. Yeah, 3rd edition was, like I said, I played the most 3rd edition. 12. So I do enjoy my 3rd edition. Although my favorite is 1st edition. I never played 4th or 5th. I've read the 4th books, 4th edition books, or I perused them. And I did not like them at all. And the way I play my third is I try to emulate first edition. I just like the rule sets of third the best. Yeah. I haven't even looked at 5th edition yet. 16 intelligence. We need a wizard. So I think we got our wizard here. Wisdom, yeah. This is going to be a wizard almost. Almost certainly going to be a wizard. Just so, if you're curious how I'm rolling my stats, if you look on the DMG page 169, I believe, of the 3rd edition book, you'll see organic method. An organic method is you roll 46, drop the lowest in order. Then you're allowed to swap one stat, and then you're allowed to re-roll one stat. So that way you don't just place, you don't get exactly the character you want. You have to, you may end up with, for instance, I've got a fighter over here with a 9 dexterity. That happens. Sometimes you get a fighter who's a little clumsy. Got a barbarian with a 7 wisdom over here. So it just makes it so you don't have always have an optimized character. And it also kind of says, like, whatever stat rolls you get kind of tell you where you're going to go with your character. Which makes sense. People who are good at something tend to do a certain job or whatever they're naturally inclined to do. So that's kind of... But you can always break the mold as well, which always make interesting characters. Bump that to a 15. That was a nice bump. That will be charisma? Yeah. Alright, so we'll swap... This is a hell of a wizard. We'll swap Constitution and Charisma. We have an 11 and a 15, and I guess we'll re-roll... Geez, does it even matter? I guess I'll re-roll Dexterity. This is a good character. This is another super character. Alright, so I'll recap these 6 real quick in case Sword wants to leave and he has any interest. So 12 is nothing. Alright, so he'll be a wizard. He might end up multi-classing at some point. Alright, so far, our first character we rolled up, we have an 18 strength, 15 dexterity, 12 constitution. Actually, you know what? I don't have to say it. This is on a... So it's kind of hard. It doesn't want to focus. Of course it's not going to focus. I need to get a better phone. This is an old A10. A10e Galaxy. So I'm waiting for my wife to trade in her new phone so I can get her old Pixel 2. I think that has a better camera. Alright, well anyways, we've got Barbarian with an 18. So this is going to be Strength, Dex, Con, Intelligence, Wiz, and Charisma. Yeah. I do have a good camera. I just never use it. It's on a tripod. Whenever I need to show my face, I'll use that camera. I've only ever done the 5 Leagues from the Borderland review, so I did that one. I did a face shot of me reading off the rules and stuff. But for something like this, I don't really need to have a camera pointed at my face. So I just used the phone on a mount. Alright, so, Barbarian. First level, our first character is a Barbarian. He's got an 18 Strength, 15 Dex, 12 Constitution, 11 Wisdom. He's got a 7, or 11 Intelligence, a 7 Wisdom, and a 9 Charisma. Probably going to go half orc on that guy. Our second character is going to be a Rogue with a 10 Strength, 17 Dexterity, 11 Constitution, 15 Intelligence, 11 Wisdom, and a 9 Charisma. Probably go Human. Our third character is a Cleric with a 13 Strength, a 7 Dexterity, a 14 Constitution, a 10 Intelligence, a 13 Wisdom, and an 11 Charisma. Probably go Dwarven Cleric there. Our fourth character is also a Cleric, and he's going to have a 12 Strength, 12 Dexterity, 16 Constitution, 11 Intelligence, 16 Wisdom, 14 Charisma. He'll probably go Human Cleric. I have my own Pantheon as well. We'll be using those gods. Our fifth character is a Fighter, 16 Strength, 9 Dexterity, 17 Constitution, 12 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, 7 Charisma. Probably going to go Dwarf on him. And the last character I just rolled is a Wizard with a 12 Strength, 13 Dexterity, 15 Constitution, 16 intelligence, 14 wisdom, and an 11 charisma. So that's another second super character. So I got 2 more characters to roll up for the party. And then it's just a matter of choosing stuff, feats, skills, and equipment. I don't have to make any more rolls. So I'll do that off camera, because that's going to take me like 3 hours to do. Pondering what feats to take and what have you. But we'll get these characters rolled up now. And then we'll take a quick look at some of the tables I have already written up. Let's go ahead and roll. Wizard money is 3d4. And like I said, I'm gonna either take really good pictures of the tables, or I'll type them up digitally and get them out there somehow. I think there were, if you like 3rd edition, I'd say these tables I've been using have been refined and are pretty decent. I've got weather tables, urban encounter tables. I have a template I use for wilderness encounter tables. So I'll show all that off as we go down this rabbit hole here. That's 50 gold. And we've got character number 7th. And then 8th. So 2 more to go. Intuition. And gold pieces. So far our party is barbarian, fighter, rogue, 2 clerics, and a wizard. We'd like maybe get a ranger. A ranger would be nice. A ranger and another fighter, I'd say. Or a paladin. I had a 17 charisma. I should have made that one a paladin. This is not as strict as 1st edition, so I can have a paladin in the party and not have to worry about having a thief. Yeah, 2 clerics and like 3 or 4 fighter classes, and you're pretty much good. Ooh, 16. Yeah. Yeah, I have my very own pantheon with my very own calendar. I need to come up with the holidays, though. That's the one thing I haven't done on my calendar is come up with the holidays. 10. We already have a rogue, so I don't think we need another. 13, so... Yeah, this doesn't really strike me as a rogue or ranger. Ranger's got like a slightly good stats basically across the board. Oh, 6 wisdom. That's definitely not ranger material. We should have a ranger in the party, or at least somebody with a survival skill. 13 charisma. Or a bard. We could do a bard. This is a decent bard. Bards are like the dumbest characters ever, but could be handy to have a bard. Let me check here, because I do have to come up with the class before I roll the gold. Let's see our choices. I don't like sorcerers, so I do a sorcerer. I can swap. Let's see. I can swap strength and dexterity and reroll for constitution and have another fighter. With a 6 wisdom. We might need more fighters. Because I got a wizard, I got 2 clerics and a rogue. That covers what we need. We have an extra cleric for that matter. One of these guys, that weaker cleric might multi-class fighter. Anyways, he'll be a dwarf. Huh. What to do? No, another 2 fighters wouldn't be a bad thing. So my logic here is when you're playing with a group of actual people, and one of their character dies, they just make a new character. But because it's a solo game, I don't want to just have the unlimited, I'll just make a new character, you know? Then where's the danger? Who cares if my characters die? There's no penalty to it. So I'm kind of probably going to go with more of a permadeath sort of campaign, where if one of my 8 guys is dead, they're dead. I'm not going to just be able to replace them. Now, I'm not going to say that there won't ever be other characters. Eventually, if they get high enough level, you'll get things like henchmen, where, you know, if I'm a 6th level fighter, I think that's a feat, actually. Let me actually check. I think that is a feat, leadership, where you can actually get henchmen. So I have 8 character slots, essentially, but if a character dies, that's a permadeath. They're gone. I will not be replacing them. But if I can get characters up to a high enough level where I can start getting henchmen, then we're good. Henchmen can take the slot of a character. I think it's at like 6th level and you start getting level 1 characters working for you. And that harkens back to the 1st edition days. So that's basically how I'm going to run this. So not only is it going to be a hex crawl where there won't be zone. This isn't World of Warcraft. There isn't 1st level zones that you can adventure in. It's going to be what it's going to be. There could be dragons in the first. I don't know. I haven't written up the random encounters yet, but I'm not going to hold back. It's gonna be what makes sense. So if I get a total party wipe, well, then I guess we switch over to 1st edition and try that out. But there won't be just, oh, I lost my wizard, I'm just gonna roll up a new wizard, because then there's nothing at stake. You know, if I've played four games with these guys, leveled them up a couple times, now I've got some attachment to them. That's what makes interesting gaming, is having attachment to your characters. But anyways, I'm digressing here again. Point is, it's going to be essentially permadeath. You have 8 characters. If a character dies, I don't just get another character rolled up. Alright, so I think we're going to go ahead and go fighter. So we'll swap the dex and the strength. So he's got a 16 strength and an 11 dexterity. And we're going to re-roll that constitution, try to get him a little tougher. Nice high constitution will be good. Oh yeah. Don't bump the 6. Alright, 16. Nice. Perfect. We need that. Not the wisest fella, but... So, that's a fighter. And 6 d4. The real testament on whether this is going to work or not is if I actually edit up videos to put on YouTube. Because that's kind of the whole point. Is I'm going to play the game, stream it, and then I have to edit them and put them up on YouTube. And in an interesting fashion as well. 120 gold. Alright, last character. 8th character. So races aren't a roll, so I can just determine what race I want to use. I'm only using book races. There's gonna be no drow or no kobolds or any of that crap. I hate that stuff. Only book races. No fancy elves, no like gray elves or anything like that. That is a 14 strength. Come on, Ranger. Need somebody with a survival skill. Yeah, nobody has a good... The wizard has a good wisdom. That's it. Barbarian has a crap wisdom. Yeah, I think we're gonna force a ranger on this last guy. Hopefully I roll decent. We've got... What's that? 11 dexterity. Yeah, we need the ranger. Otherwise we're gonna starve to death in the wilderness. Constitution. 12. Basically, as long as I don't have a negative in a stat, I got a ranger. Except for charisma. Charisma doesn't matter. You should see me play Fallout 4. I mod the crap out of it and do permadeath. I'll eventually get to that. That'll be something I do eventually. 13 intelligence. Is start playing Fallout 4 and Skyrim again. I go in cycles with my hobbies. Alright, wisdom. All important. A 13's good enough. Yeah, we got a ranger here. This'll do. Even if I roll a crappy charisma. If I roll a good charisma, I'll swap it with dexterity. And 12. So we will swap that charisma with the dexterity. So I rolled a 12 charisma, so now we have a 12 dexterity. And an 11 charisma. And what can we re-roll? Wisdom. Let's try to get a higher wisdom. Should try to get a higher dexterity. Hold on. Swap back. So we have an 11 dexterity, 12 charisma. 11, 12. Let's consider. I want the bump in intelligence, and I definitely want the bump in wisdom. Don't really need the bump in dexterity. So I can re-roll dexterity, and it doesn't matter if it's lower. I think what I want to do is swap... Yeah, I'll swap strength and wisdom. So my strength is a 13, and my wisdom will be a 14. Now I'll re-roll dexterity. There we go. That's better. Rangers don't have to be dexterous. They just have to be knowledgeable. But I can always roll high here and have a good dexterity. So here we go. Reroll. Dexterity. Nah, I roll crap. So he's going to end up with an 11 dexterity, but we got the 14 wisdom. Just make sure that's an 11. Alright, so we got our party. He's going to be a ranger. Rag. Should be ran. Last roll we need to do is the money. Ranger is 64. And AD&D, I don't even think dexterity was a requisite. You could have a 7 dexterity ranger if you wanted. Rangers weren't Aragorn or whatever. Or the archer wasn't necessarily the ranger. Rangers were just woodsy guys. Think more like mountaineers, that kind of thing. So hardy folk were rangers. Let's see. So that is 130 gold. All right. So we've got our party. As a quick recap, we have a barbarian with an 18 strength and a very low wisdom. We've got a rogue who's very dexterous and smart. Other than that, he's very average. We have a cleric who's very clumsy but has a decent, who's fairly tough and wise. Probably going to end up being a dwarf. We've got a super character cleric with bumps and everything, basically, except for intelligence. But other than that, he's got a 16 constitution, wisdom, 14 charisma. Pretty good. We've got another fighter with a 16 strength and 17 constitution. A little on the clumsy side. And definitely uncouth. We've got a wizard who's another super character who's got a 15 constitution, 16 intelligence, and a 15 wisdom. Other than that, all the other stats are either neutral or bonuses. We've got another fighter over here with a 16 strength and a 16 constitution, but extremely unwise. And we've got a ranger who's basically got slightly above average stats across the board, with the exception of dexterities. He's average in dexterity. So, as far as a party goes, we've got about four fighter classes, if you will. 2 healers, clerics, and a wizard and a rogue, which is about what you need. We should fare okay, and there's definitely always running away. You can always run away. Well, sometimes you can't, but that I guess depends on how fast your pursuers are. And then you only have to run faster than the dwarf. Alright, so we've got our characters. There's one final shot of everybody. Dwarf's my favorite race. I am a dwarf. Not like really a dwarf, but I have the barrel chest and I'm only 5'8". And I'm 230 pounds with a barrel chest and 5'8". I look like a dwarf when I stand next to normal people. And I'm usually bearded, although I've shaved my beard recently. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at some tables just to see what we're working with here. So really the only here's my calendar system. I'm gonna have to pan out for this. This has been in a alright. That's upside down. There we go. So I've got some moon cycles all written out. 30 days, 3 weeks, 10 days in a week. And this is the whole calendar here. And I've written, I think there's like 9 moons. They're not all necessarily moons. Some are comets that are on a pretty tight orbit. But in the fantasy world, they're essentially moons. They're basically the gods. So here's here's my calendar. I got all the days named at the top there. Those are all the days. So anyways, that's one thing I have for this world. Now let's see what we have for tables. I think they're all right here. This stack of paper is all world stuff that I've done for my world. So here's an example of one of the towns in my world. I have the population written out. I've got the NPCs, all the highest level ones, and the total number of them. Random race, which is dependent on each individual town, will have its own random race. Notable NPCs. Then I have rumor tables for taverns, and there's some scenarios that are specific to, for instance, this town. So I can always adventure in the world I have now already written up, because I've got a lot of this sort of stuff written up for my world already. This is all based off of third edition as well. What do we got here? That is some maps for a different game. But anyways, we're looking for tables. Here's my ruin system for... I even came up with a ruin system for one of my languages. I have unique languages for the world as well. Not that I've really fleshed them out. I'm not Tolkien, but I've got names for them. And then I've got the old Shalvik ruins. So you actually can right to left. And that's basically how it works there. And they kind of they look like the letter they are. So like the W, the V, the U, there's the T. So that's that. That may come up in game. That's more of something you use when you're playing with actual people. And they can, decipher it and what have you. That's a timeline for a different game. Let's see. I got tables somewhere here. Here we go. So we've got... Is this 3rd edition or is this... This might be 1st edition. Yeah, this is some 1st edition stuff. This looks like 3rd edition. This might be 3rd edition. Well, this is 1st edition as well, I think. Oh, here we go. I wrote like a smart guy. I wrote 3rd edition at the top of these. So this is a temperate plains encounter table. So I've basically taken every creature for all the books I have that exist in temperate plains, and you can roll them up on this encounter chart. And I've done the whole thing's all sorted out here. So now if I have a temperate plains, if I'm adventuring in a temperate plains, I now have encounter tables already done. This is Arctic Mountain Encounters, which I haven't quite finished out haven't quite put the percentages yet, but looks like I've written everybody down. Then there's these outdoor encounters. So this is how it would work: is I'm adventuring in the northern Red Horse Plains of my world, for instance, and I roll up an encounter. I then check for the type, and it depends on where I am. Am I on a road? Am I in a settled area? Here, let me bring the... Oh, it doesn't want to focus. And let's turn the light out, maybe. Maybe that'll help. Still doesn't want to focus. Well, anyways, you figure out, am I in roads, settled, or wild? Then I make the D100 roll, and it will come up with a humanoid encounter, a mythical creature encounter, a natural creature encounter, or a scenario. Then you go and you figure out, so here's the humanoids. If it's a humanoid encounter, you got bandits, berserkers, merchants, nomads, NPC parties, patrols, pilgrims, savage encounters, which are your orcs and your goblins. Just random travelers. So not every encounter is going to be a bad guy. Some of them, a bunch of them are going to be just regular people you're meeting. Then you go for the counter size. You got different sizes of encounters. And then I have the compositions. So if you encounter a band of berserkers, you can figure that out. Berserker band right here. And I'll tell you exactly what's there. So there's going to be 44 plus 4 first level fighters, which isn't good. 4 third level barbarians, 2 fifth level barbarians, a 7th level barbarian. So that's your berserker band. And that goes all the way down. So now you need to find the... This is 3rd edition, 1st edition. But anyways, that's kind of the idea. And I have a whole bunch of... Here's some weather charts. And then I have a bunch of the cities written up. So basically I got a whole bunch of stuff already done. Oh, here's a morale table for 3rd edition. I took the idea behind... Yeah, there's a lot of possibility. So that's basically, when you play in solo, you kind of need a large group of tables. That's how you can get a solo game done, is by having lots of tables to roll on. And then I will just inject the narrative after I've made all the rolls. So when I'm playing the game, I don't necessarily... So when I'm streaming, when I'm actually playing and streaming the solo game, I don't necessarily have to narrate as I'm playing. What I can do is afterwards I will review the stream, and then I can write up the narrative for it after the fact. Then I can create the YouTube video and post that up online, condensed down with a narrative behind it, and that's kind of how I'm going to do it. And like I said, if you check out Solo Dungeon Crawler, just the way he does it is kind of what I'm trying to sort of mimic, with the exception as I'm going to stream all the dice rolls. He just says he just shows you the roll, but it's an edited video. It's not, you know what I mean? But anywho, so let's take a quick look. Here's my gods, 3rd edition style, with preferred weapons, alignments, and symbols, and their domains, because domains is a thing. So I got the 9 gods here. Let's take a quick look at the map. I think I might have to do... See, I want to do a hex crawl. I'm gonna do a hex crawl. So I have stuff for Arctic conditions, or really cold conditions. I've got a lot of the tables written up for that. So I can just use those tables for this dungeon crawl, and we'll just stick ourselves in an Arctic environment. But let's check out the map real quick, and I can kind of show you where I'm at. And that's basically all I need to do. So I'm going to show the map, and then I'm probably going to cut the stream there. This doesn't need to be a super long stream. Get that out of the way. So, see, I'm torn between running... See, I shouldn't hex crawl. I should just run it in the world I already have existing, because that world's got a lot of detail. So here's the world, with latitude, longitude written on the sides and on the top. And then if you look, the latitude has our different temperate areas. So this center area here is tropical. Basically, this whole band right here is tropical. So this continent right here, for instance, is almost wholly in the tropical area. Then there's warm, temperate, cold, and Arctic. So this is the main continent that I've been using. And as you can see, the very bottom of it is in the warm. The middle of it's temperate, and the top of it's cold. With this top island breakage, all these broken islands are in the Arctic Circle essentially. And this island, let me use my pencil as a pointer. This island right here is the island I have the most written up for this whole world. Is that little island right there. Think of Icewind Dale sort of thing. So this is the world. So what I might do, if I'm going to do a hex crawl, I've got a continent here. And I've got this little continent here. What I might do is I might stick another continent down here, because this is the opposite end, so this is Arctic down here as well. I might stick another continent down here, and we can hex crawl that continent. Or, actually, what would make more sense is another continent up here, and then they can travel from the known part of the world I have, and they can travel to the here, and I can use the Arctic encounters. That actually makes more sense. That'll be a lot easier. So if I'm going to do a hex crawl, I'll create another continent right here, and we'll travel to it from my known existing location here, and they'll take a, they'll travel by sea to get to here. Yeah, exactly, Viking style. Exactly. So that's the big world map. So when I wrote up this little continent and these little islands here, I was going to run a Bronze Age game for my nephew. I never ended up getting to do it, but I had written up this continent, put it in the tropical and then the warm area, and we were going to run a Bronze Age game. Think Jason and the Argonauts style, that kind of thing. So that would have been fun. Here's an image of the night sky, if you will, with the variety of moons. So this world essentially has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moons. This is actually a repeating comet that shows up here and there. Here's if you look at the shape of this continent right here, that is this right here. So that's zoomed in 3 times. You got this Virgin Snow Island. That's the island I made the most. I've written the most about. And then you got our different areas here along the coast. This coast is fairly well developed as well. And this middle section here was fairly well developed as well. Yeah, this is an old map. This map right here is probably like 10 plus years old. And I've been developing this world that whole time. So there's information about a lot of these places. And then we can zoom in to specific areas. Like this is the town of Deathhold. And this is at 1 square equals a mile. And if you look at this is 1 square equals 50 miles. Deathhold is like right at the tip of my pencil on this top island. So everything kind of like zooms in. And that's how I wrote up all these maps. Here's that island. So if you look at this island here, that is this island right here. You can see how it's the same thing. You got the town here. So this island right here is the most developed area I have. And also with this whole continent, let me pan out a little bit. I've got the Underdark mapped out. So this, you can see the dotted lines here, which is like a ghost outline, which outlines exactly this map. So I can see right here, or right here is that island. And you can see there's a massive chamber here and some tunnelage. You can get to the whole, basically the entire Underdark. And then this map, there's actually a zoomed in version of this map as well for certain areas. And basically, as I'm adventuring, I can always just write the next part of the map if I haven't written it yet. Yeah, I did the Underdark too. I call it the Underrealm, because Underdark is not my thing. Yeah, there's maps. Here's a section of the Underdark, right underneath the Virgin Snow Island. And this is at, what is this? 8 miles a square. Yeah, I've got maps. Here's another island I did. Yeah, here's a 1 mile a map. 1 mile a square Underdark section I wrote up. Yeah, so we got some stuff. So this is kind of why this is the one reason I don't want to hex crawl, is because I've got so much work put into this continent already. Where, like, up here in this Virgin Snow Island. And then we can always, I eventually want to take it to the Underdark. Because I've got tables for that. I wrote up a whole exploring the Underdark thing. Which is, I think, pretty awesome. Let me get to it, actually. Oh, here's a town map. So I zoom in further. And that's the main town on that island. It's called Deshold. And I have individual buildings. So this map zooms in to individual buildings, and then I write down, I number some of the buildings, and I write their names down on the back here. So it's a world. It's got as much detail as any campaign setting you could buy. Here's the sewer system under that map. But I did not find my random encounter tables. This is just the maps. Oh, here we go. Duh. I'm looking at them. So, yeah, so there's just a... Oh, here's another fun little... What universe... Well, I don't understand that. I don't understand that statement. See about doing a collaboration to let you use the universe. I don't know what universe you're talking about. Like, inject myself into the D&D multiverse. Oh yeah, yeah, and like I said, I'll take pictures of this stuff. I mean, this world's kind of my world, but I don't mind other people playing in it, so I can take pictures of it. I don't want someone trying to publish it. But yeah, I can definitely take pictures of all this stuff. Yeah, I didn't want to do a hex crawl because I have so much already written. It's basically, it's already developed. I'm confused. I don't think you're confused. I think I'm confused. Collaboration to let you use. So, are you saying you I don't understand. Are you basically DMing my game? Is that kind of like a stream DMer? That's an interesting. Oh, they do that. They play D&D on stream, don't they? I've watched it. I know they do that. I just don't understand. I apologize. I definitely am not following you, Sword and Fortress. Oh, well, no, I don't. If I'm not going to do a hex crawl, I don't. I can just do it. It's easy. But if I ever decide to do a stream of actually playing, I'd love to DM again. I haven't done it in forever, but I'd love to do a on-stream DMing actual game. That would be fun. I'm getting myself in the community. You'd be on the list then. I would send an invite to you. Not saying that that's going to happen anytime soon, but that would be interesting. I'm kind of the solo guy, though. That's sort of my deal. Alright, anyways, here's a hireling availability. So I've got charts to discover if there's any hirelings. Nothing's keeping me from not doing a hex crawl. It's just a decision I need to make. And I was flip-flopping between first and third, and I kept doing it. I had 2 streams last week or earlier this week where I started rolling up characters. So all a hex crawl is you don't come up with the map ahead of time. So I will take a blank piece of hex paper, and I will write in. I'll write up a town or something to start in, and then it's possibilities. Like I haven't written up. I won't think of it ahead of time or nothing. I'll have to explore it. So I'll need to create tables that say what's going to be in the next hex. That's what a hex crawl is. And that's kind of what I want to do, because doing a solo game really lends itself to a hex crawl. A hex crawl kind of makes sense for a solo game. I just need to create the tables. So nothing's holding me back from not doing a hex crawl. A hex crawl is probably the way to go. And if I do a hex crawl, what I can do is, like I said, is I'll have another continent in this world, and by playing that game, I'll actually create more of my world by playing the game. I'll generate the world as I go. But if I don't do a hex crawl, I will play it in this part of the world I already have developed. Because, like I said, I've got a lot of work already done in this world. But anyways, so the point of all this is I've got a lot of stuff that I can use for this game. I've got tables, and I'll have a method of play, which I'll basically outline before I start playing, on how I'm going to play it, and how a solo game will go for me. Essentially, I'll start in a town. I need to... one thing I'm getting hung up on is, how am I going to justify even leaving the town with a group of adventurers? Like, I kind of want to come up with some sort of quest generation tables where I generate, I need to discover a dungeon and retrieve an artifact. Like, have a table that generates a quest for me. And then I can go about generating a reason to leave the town in the first place, beyond just saying, what's out there. So if I'm going to play in my existing area, I'll need to do that. I'll need to have some reason for them to go exploring. Otherwise, there's no reason to. But if I do the hex crawl, then it doesn't matter. Then quest hook generator, sort of. Yes, I'll need to actually generate specifics of it. It won't just be a quest hook. I'll need to generate specifics, and I'll have to be able to have it, so I'll have to have it be able to pop in randomly in the game, which wouldn't be too hard to do. I could put it in the random encounter tables, like a quest, a portion of the quest will come up. So actually, yeah, that would be an interesting way to do it. Yeah, we're gonna refine this. We'll refine this as I play. But I'm liking that idea where I can stick right into a random encounter table, like quest hook is one of the results in your random encounter, and then we can we can come up with a subtable saying it's a dungeon crawl or for an artifact or something. But I'll figure it out. I can definitely write up tables. Tables is something I can do. So if I do a hex crawl, I don't need to do as much work. Yeah. Oh, so Xander, you were here when I started doing this. Welcome back. I scrapped all the other rolls because I couldn't make the decision on what edition to use. So I finally have decided on 3rd edition. We've rolled up all the characters at the beginning of the stream here. Here are all the stats. I just need to write them out on paper. This is the one we're using. I'm not going to roll again. Here's the party of adventurers. We got 8 of them. For your benefit. Yeah, I like the venom bred bandits. Guards having trouble finding the venom bred bandits. Yeah, I'll come up with a table. It's going to be more of a generic table. Like, the quest will be retrieve. Like, so one of the tables will be, what is the quest action? Slay, retrieve, explore, whatever, negotiate. That'll be one table. Then the next table will be artifact, whatever, so it could be, slay the artifact, for instance. And then I'll have to come up with a narrative on what that exactly means. and or could be slay the bearer of the artifact or whatever. So I could do something along those lines for generating quests, and then I'll have to have some way to drop the actual conclusion of the quest in the in the map, like it's somewhere in the world that I have to get to. Oh, that's hey, let me write that down. That's an excellent idea. That's really good. I like that. So, what Xander's saying here is, yeah, that is a really good idea. Come up with tables for motivation, character motivation tables, what the characters want to do, and that can change. I can roll that. I can roll that every turn. I could say, first session, come up with your motivation for your characters. So we'll say character one is greedy. He wants gold. So then second session you can do a percentile. 50% he keeps his current motivation. So 1 through 50 he keeps his current motivation. 51 through 100 he gets a new motivation. He's abandoned the greed and wants to do something else, or something along those lines. So that way each session the motivation can change. Yeah, I'm liking that idea. That's excellent, Xander. So we'll call that character motivation tables. That's on my list. Excellent. Yeah, that's good too. That's more of just sort of background. So I would probably, whatever feeling I get off of the character after I'm done making it, I can write that out. So I can write out the wizard is afraid of spiders, whatever, or the rogue is madly in love with the bar wench at wherever. That sort of thing I can just write, and then I could tie that into whatever their motivation is. So come up with motivation tables, which gives me the randomy what the guy's gonna do, what the party members want to do, and then I can write that. I can write the narrative however I want based off of what their, like you said, what their fears, hates, loves are. So that's just a narrative part on me. But character motivation tables as a driver for adventure is excellent, excellent, excellent idea. I'm gonna definitely have to do that. Yeah, I like that. What else can we do? Let's take that idea and keep going with it here. So character motivation tables as a driver for solo RPG play, and you can come up with individuals. Where does that lead? That wouldn't tie into the quest generation. We need a quest generation of some sort. I gotta write that down too. Quest/mission generators. Generator. So we need a quest mission generator. I'd also like to have a character motivation table. Quirks would be interesting. Like I said, quirks is something I can just sort of write up. They won't have because at the end of the day, what I'm attempting to do is I need a mechanical sort of process to drive adventure. So at the end of the day, I'm not any one of these particular characters. This is just the party of adventurers that I kind of want to let roam the world, and coming up with motivation tables is good and quest generators is good. That'll kind of help direct me. As like I said, as for backgrounds for each characters, I'm basically just gonna write those as I see fit. That'll just be like a story aspect of it. But yeah, so I got a lot of work here that I can use. Yeah, histories. Yeah, exactly. And what's good about that is I can play the first game or two, or even 3 or 4, whatever. Play the first couple of sessions, and I don't even have to come up with everything just yet. I can add it in later if it makes sense. I can add it in later. If one of my characters gets beat up, I have a urban encounter where one of my characters is off on his own. He gets jumped or something, I can write that into his history later. So I don't even have to come up with all of it at once. Or if I, roll this, if I come up with a good character motivation table. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, that could tie into the character motivation table. So yeah, I think based off of what I've already have written up, table wise, to run the game, and you'll see the first time I do this, you'll see how it kind of plays itself. But what I need is a quest generator, and motivation table is an awesome idea. And then if I'm gonna do a hex crawl, I'll need to basically come up with an entire hex crawl generator to generate each hex as I move into it. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting quirk. Laughs at rabbits. Gives away his position. More of just gives away his position because he can't. He can't. He's got too much humor. Yeah, that's like a quirk thing. Maybe I feel like quirks is something I'm gonna just write rather than roll on a table. I'll write it for what it makes sense. Plus, they give you these stats here. I've got my stats. I can base that sort of thing off. But yeah, all right. So we got enough to work with here. So what I will do is I'll probably call it here for the night, and I will be back hopefully Saturday, like my normal schedule. I'll try to come back Saturday and just play. I'll just play, whether I have everything done or not. I'll just come back Saturday and play some solo D&D. And I'll put that up. I'm gonna port over this one as well as any of these solo games. They're gonna get straight put right over to YouTube, just because I'll lose them here if I don't do that. Twitch will delete them after 14 days. So those will go straight to YouTube, and then from there I will attempt to make a short. So I'll take a 2 or 3 hour D&D session and condense it down into a half an hour edited video, or even less. It could even be less, because you got to figure most of my gaming is gonna be me rolling the dice, writing in my notebook. So that could be 3 hours of that. Could definitely probably condense down to 15 to a half an hour of an edited video with my narration, which is 15 minutes videos are good. Yeah, I do that. I do export straight from. Oh wait, you can export. Yeah, I do. I export straight to YouTube from Twitch. I have that all. Yeah, I already got that all set up. I just need to be able to grab the YouTube video off of YouTube and put it on my computer for editing. But what I basically do is I export them right over to YouTube, and then I can edit from there. But anyways, we're gonna call it here. I've got some musing to do. Figuring out exactly how I want to go with this motivation table is a really good idea. Thank you very much, Xander, for that excellent idea of a character motivation table as a driver for adventure. Perfect. So I'll try to come up with that. Try to come up with a quest generator, and then consider my hex generator if I'm going to go that way. If I don't go with the hexes, I'll definitely use my ridiculously detailed world, and I can play in that world. There's sections of this map up here I don't have anything written down on. So, all right, well, hey, thanks a lot, Sword and Fortress, for showing up and chatting me up. I appreciate it. I always appreciate it when people show up. Like I said, I generally stream to myself, so it's always good to have someone pop in and have a chat with me. And thanks, Xander, for showing back up. I appreciate it. And whoever wants to see me actually play solo D&D, I'll be back Saturday night around 9. And hey, take it easy and take care as well. And good night.